JR is one of my personal heroes, and in a minute you're going to find out why. Please give it up for JR Martinez.
Wow. Just like Brian's story, it's interesting. Paul, you have these interesting ways where you meet people. I actually met Paul. We were doing an interview at Hot 97. Like, seriously. So, Brian, I completely understand. Whew. It's a pleasure to be here this evening. You know, PS22 makes it hard for anyone to follow up after them, but we're going to do our best as much as we can. A year ago, I was here, and for a lot of you that were here last year, you saw me crying, because it was an unbelievable honor. Because 7.5 years ago, I was driving a vehicle in Karbala, Iraq, when my front left tire unexpectedly ran over a landmine. I was trapped inside the truck, and when I was finally pulled out of the vehicle, I was burned over 40% of my body and sustained other injuries. Now, mind you, I'm burned over 40% of my body, and a lot of you can see it, but it's nothing compared to a lot of our vets that are coming home now. I spent 2.5 years in San Antonio, Texas, and underwent 32 different types of surgeries. And for me, as a 19-year-old, coming out of my coma and looking at my body and saying to myself, what am I going to do with this? Was the biggest question that I had for myself and everyone else around me. Well, what it came down to was one day I was about 7.5 months after my injury, I was recovering, and a nurse asked me to visit one of the patients. And after I visited this patient, I realized that I had the ability to give him something that's priceless: hope. And by giving him hope, it gave me hope. And I started to realize, well, wait a minute, I think that's the answer to my question. I think that I can actually use my experience to help other vets who are returning and help them along their path. Well, 7.5 years later, I've been able to do that on many different platforms. But one of the things that a lot of times we get so caught up in thinking is that the people that are heroes and the people that are champions are those that wear the uniform. But tonight, you're going to learn from the gentleman I'm going to introduce here in a second, that not all of them wear the same uniform that we wear. And that gentleman is Mr. David Gelbaum. He is a quiet, unsung champion for all 2.2 million veterans who are returned from Iraq and Afghanistan. And unsung happens to be a word that just fits him very well. About 4 years ago, Mr. Gelbaum founded the Iraq and Afghanistan Deployment Impact Fund based in California Community Foundation in Los Angeles. Now, behind the scenes, he has made unprecedented contributions to our veterans, which literally have helped hundreds and thousands of our new returning veterans. But much like our men and women who wear the uniform, Mr. Gelbaum, you shy away from all credit and all recognition as a leader. But understand that here tonight, we are here to honor you, because as Paul said, every single one of our veterans that are in this room, that is in this country, have been impacted by you. And you alone have changed who we are as veterans and impacted our community as a leader and by your support.